Morning again. Still Wednesday and it's 11:19. I've got a different tie on. I didn't know if you'd all noticed. This tie is a blue tie. Not only a blue tie, this tie is an owl's tie. Because the gentleman who we're on service for, or my team are at the moment, were a huge Sheffield Wednesday fan. So the family asked if it would be alright for us all to wear blue ties. Don't forget, majority of my team, except Mr. Emmingham, who supports Worksop Town. Yes, Worksop Town do have a football club. I don't know where they play, probably somewhere in Doncaster. Anyway, most of my team support United. Steve, Glenn, I don't know who Grandad supports actually, I'm not quite sure, I'll have to ask him. So, back to this blue tie. We're all wearing blue ties today. And you'd never get my lads wearing blue for anybody. You wouldn't. They just wouldn't do it. But when we're on service, we do anything. Whatever the family request. They request blue ties, we wear blue ties. That's how it should be. Hence the blue tie. I'm making my way to City Road now. I'm not actually on service, I'm out on arrangements today. But I just want to go and meet family at the crematorium and just pass on my condolences to family. Whenever I can, I do. If I can be on service, I'll be on service. But we've had from 8 o'clock this morning, and don't forget we're only on 22 minutes past 11. We've had 4 people pass away, 4 phone calls. We've had lots of phone calls, but we've had 4 where loved ones have passed away, either in hospital or in care homes or wherever. So only halfway through the day. There's 4 grieving families today, and my heart goes out to them, because I think majority of people who watch this will understand what it's like. There's no feeling like it. So that'll be 4 new families that will be caring for it next few weeks. It'd be lovely if you could just shoot to hospital and pick somebody up and bring them, but you can't. How this works is somebody dies in hospital and the paperwork has to be done. So they die in ward that they're on, they're then taken into the mortuary, all booked in with paperwork, and then if that person's going to be cremated, the last doctor who saw that patient has to go down to mortuary and ID him, say, yeah, that's the patient I've been looking after. He fills all paperwork in for a cremation to take place. He's satisfied that the cause of death were due to that illness. If they're not sure, it's referred back to coroners, and then coroners will deal with everything. Then that person will be transported from the hospital mortuary usually to the coroner's offices, where they will investigate why something went wrong, be it on an operating table, somebody's had a fall in hospital, things like that need investigating by coroner. Coroner is God, basically. Yeah, you don't argue with coroner, nobody does. Not even Mick Kerrigan, who's manager of bereavement services, and he's quite high up, Mick. He's a nice bloke, by the way. But none of us argue with coroner, because we can't, because you get your ass kicked. Even coppers can't argue with coroner. He's over them all. So, say a PC answers to his sergeant, and sergeant answers to inspector, and inspector answers to chief inspector. Chief inspector answers to chief constable. And that like ranks. Well, above chief constable is coroner. Who does coroner answer to? His Majesty the King. I nearly said Her Majesty. We're still trying to get used to this, aren't we? We sang National Anthem last night at lodge that I go to, because I'm a Mason, and it is difficult to remember God Save Our Gracious King, because we just thought, all my lifetime sang God Save the Queen. Anyway, back, never mind, oh, God Save Queen and God Save King. Back to this, what I was saying. So yeah, coroner's God, he only answers to King. That's his boss. There's nobody higher anywhere than a coroner. And they all lovely. Chris Doris was, Professor Pop, he were absolutely amazing. He were probably the best. Professor Usher, he were amazing. He were a lovely bloke. And then you've got Chris Doris. He's now retired, Chris, and he were an absolute diamond. Right down to earth, said it as it were. He were lovely. It's a lady who's coroner now. I don't know her name. Luckily, I've not had the misfortune to meet her yet. You know, I'm not being called in for anything. Sometimes we're called in to ask questions and stuff. Usually coroner's officers deal with all that. They're like coroners, not minions, but the next down. They're police officers, or have been police officers, who investigate a death, should a death have happened, and then they report back to coroner because they've done a post-mortem, or they have a scan. Not everybody's cut open today. A lot of people are just scanned in a big scan. It's less invasive. It's brilliant. It's absolutely puts a lot of people's mind at ease when we say, you know, it's not necessarily an invasive autopsy, because they're not actually called post-mortems. Post-mortem just means after death. Like some people get post-mortem staining. So if somebody dies with their head down, all the blood will pull to the front of the face, and it'll settle there, making that person really, really red. And as that progresses, it gets darker and darker and darker and darker. Obviously, when you're seeing blood after it's a few days, hours old, it goes dark, almost black. So that's called post-mortem staining. So it's after death staining. Nobody can receive a bruise after they've died. It doesn't, you know, if somebody's arm's banged or something like that, they're not going to bruise when they've died. No bruising occurs after death. It's all post-death. Well, I'm nearly at City Road to meet this family, and I've been on 7 minutes and 36 seconds talking to you about God knows what. Anyway, I was saying, sorry, somebody dies in hospital, and it'd be lovely just to jump in ambulance and shoot to hospital and bring them back. You can't. You have to wait until the another FD's got stuck. I think it's Dignity. Anyway, you can't just go and bring somebody into care. I'm sorry, I'm waving and get distracted. It's like, my mind's like a prism and it goes all over. So we can't just go and fetch them. We have to wait till that doctor's done that paperwork, which can be a few days, can be a week. It's when he can get down to mortuary. We then have to now wait, all because of, since this COVID, not because of COVID, since COVID, for the family to register at the registrar. It's usually a phone appointment where they have a chat to families and ask them questions. Are you satisfied with the cause of death that's been registered? And if they are, move forward. Day after, they get an appointment, or usually day after, to go down to registrar and collect the green certificate. We need that. That is a form of release. So we meet family, or they'll post it to us, bring it in, not fruit post it fruit letterbox. And then what happens then is we use that, take it to hospital to bring that loved one into care. A lot of messing about when it's a cremation. There's a lot less messing about when it's a burial. You don't have to wait. If somebody's died in hospital and they're going to be buried, you can bring them straight into care, more or less, whenever you can. The reason that is because after a cremation, should there be questions asked as to this person passing away, why and all that, you can't check that person to make sure they aren't being poisoned or anything. That's why with cremation, everything has to be done there and then. Wherever there's a burial, but later on, like with Harold Shipman, they exhumed people because he'd been poisoning people. Remember Harold Shipman? I don't think anybody will ever forget him. That vile creature. So that's the reason we wait for people to come into care. We hate waiting, to be truthful with you. Loved ones should be brought into care ASAP. That's why we don't have a fridge that's only got room for 3 or 4 people in. That's why we have a bank of fridges. So it's just how it should be. At our old premises, it were 18. The new premises, it's a lot more. And it's, you don't fill that up, but during pandemic we had 76 people in care, all under refrigerated conditions. As soon as we got the go-ahead to bring somebody into care, we don't leave anybody, because nobody should be left at the hospital without a doubt. They should be brought into care and looked after. I'm going to have to go because I'll be late, and there's no worse than being late. Well, I'm never late anyway, so not for a funeral. I'm late for other things, but not for a funeral. I'm at City Road. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will be putting something on a bit later on when I'm back at our premises. Press like, obviously. Thank you, Cheryl, for pressing like. I've seen that. Harry, I am not knitting, so get that out of the head. And